Chapter 6 is all about indoor groomsmen portraits. So what do you do when you're shooting indoors in scenes that are moody and dramatic and you want to preserve the environmental light in that kind of scene? We're going to be teaching you how to use grids, how to use snoots. We're going to teach you what the difference is and how you can utilize the umbrella to get nice light over the entire group. We're going to walk through an entire series of these kind of dramatic portraits of the groomsmen at the Bazaar bar inside of the SLS. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's very applicable to virtually any indoor scene that you guys are shooting at. So let's go ahead and jump into the videos. Okay, so we're here in the Bazaar right now, which is, it's so great because we got here by just asking hotel management, hey, is it okay if we take pictures in this area? We know that it's closed until dinner time, but you know the bride and groom are getting married and they would love to have a few pictures here, or just the groom would love to have a few pictures here. Now, of course, this is Groom's Prep, and we're gonna be doing groom and groomsmen, and this is one of the perfect backdrops. Not necessarily the dessert side, because this is the dessert and kind of softer side of this area, but there's a fantastic bar area that we're gonna scope out as well. So let's go and just kind of take a look at this area. One thing to keep in mind is that we have a lot of these overhead spotlights. You'll notice that as soon as I step under one of these spotlights, I have top-down lighting. My eyes are filled into the shadows. So we need to be really careful with that. That's why I'm also shooting this right from the edge of this light so that it kind of spills into my face a little bit easier. And it's easier at that point to modify. If we want to add another light over it, I'm not getting hard shadows from these lights. So we need to be very aware of where these lights are placed in the room and kind of decide on what we're going for in our compositions, knowing that with every single shot that we take in an area like this, we will need light modification if we want it to look very refined. Otherwise, what we can do is place them in areas where there are existing light and try and move facial positions to fit and balance that. But more often than not, I like to place them in certain areas and add light to it. A perfect light in these kind of situations is a tungsten balanced flash, or something like the GL1, like a hot light or an LED light that you can put light directly on your subject, and that light is going to be balanced to this kind of tungsten environment. So let's just take a look at what we have. Now over here on this side, we have a lot of like jewelry and stuff. It's really funny. They say that that side is like, the far left side is for hors d'oeuvres and the middle area for dinner, and then you have the bar and you have the dessert area, and when you are thoroughly drunk, they come through and they actually make all their purchases, which is perfect. So all this stuff is like the gifts, the jewelry, that kind of stuff. We're not probably going to really photograph with the bride and the groom unless there's a specific request for it. Over here on this side, we're again talking about groom prep. That's a very soft side and a soft look to this dessert and pastry area. So again, that doesn't necessarily fit the look and feel that I'm going for. But let's head over to the other areas. What we're going to see is a really cool and dramatic bar scene and other stuff that we could potentially use. So let's go and look at that. Okay, so this is actually the beginning part of the Bazaar. I mean, this is where couples go for hors d'oeuvres to get started in this kind of experience. Now, what I'm noticing about this area is that for the groom and the groomsmen, I don't really have the right look that I'm going for. I don't have that kind of dramatic and kind of manly look to this scene. It's a very soft palette, similar to what we see over on the dessert side. It has that softer vibe to it, softer lighting, softer furniture and everything. So I probably would avoid this for, say, the groom and the groomsmen. I'd go to that bar area where it's a little bit more masculine. But on this side, I do notice some really cool things. Like there's these kind of little stalls over here where we could actually use that for a bride and groom if we're going to photograph them together. In fact, I think in our portfolio, we actually have quite a few shots in those areas, as well as underneath these curtains, there's little private areas too where you can get really cool shots of a bride and groom together. Not necessarily stuff for just the groom or the groomsmen, but for the couple, we have a lot of potential here. So just kind of keep that in mind. So another beautiful thing that I'm seeing in this scene, or really fantastic, is this gold that we see in the bar in this back area. I mean, the backlighting of these bottles is so fantastic. You can see the reflections actually coming off the table. So one thing is that if we do utilize this area, when I'm placed over here, you can see how dark I'm going to become. So if we have a groom and groomsmen on this side, then what I notice on my person right now is I'm actually looking and seeing the light is creating a nice little edge on the left side of me that's coming from that bar over there. That's fantastic. And I can see a little bit of that blue daylight coming through the windows, but it's not strong enough to be really that present in the scene. So what's going to need to happen is I need to add another light onto whoever I have in this area. Most likely, once again, you're either going to use your tungsten gelled flash in which case you want to make sure that you control the direction and the spill. We need things like grids in this type of a scene, because without a grid, without control of that flash spill, the light's going to go everywhere in the room, and it's going to wash out that beautiful ambience that we're actually loving right now when we see it. So we want to make sure that we do that. Otherwise, use a constant light, use an LED light, use a GL1, use something that you can control and something that you can see. So you can not only see the balance and brightness of that light compared to the background, but you can also see where it's spilling onto. Most likely that light would be placed somewhere around where the camera actually is photographing me or filming me right now, so that I get a nice directional light onto this area, we don't spill anything into the background, and we get a really nice look. For brightness-wise, we want our subjects right here just to be a little bit brighter than this background area because we want them to pop, and we want to maintain that rich, dark mood of the background. When we start brightening the background too much, it blows out, we lose that dark and rich ambience that we are so loving right now. So just make sure that when you're adding that light, you can keep the exposure, and the best way to do that is just to set the exposure first for the background and then add whatever additional light you need at that point. So let's look at what else we have here. We have really great kind of sofa area. Why don't we have the cameras come around and check this out, because this is really cool. Okay, so this is another fantastic area for groom and groomsmen portraits. This fits the exact mood I would want. It's a lounge, it's fantastic, and once again, we know that this place doesn't open until dinner. So if the groom is getting prepped here, we know that this is available with security. They're simply going to let us in, and we have a completely open area to shoot in. So be nice, ask for permission. In this area, once again, we're going to be aware, be cognizant of these lights. Most of these are coming straight down or at a slight angle. Wherever we place the groom and groomsmen, we're going to need to add light to them. Your light is still going to be either that controlled, gelled flash, or it's going to be a tungsten-based constant light like the GL1, like a LED light. So we also have this front bar. This would make for a fantastic scene where we can actually shoot silhouettes like against this. It would look amazing to see like the silhouettes of the groom and the groomsmen, and maybe even to have the groom standing here with just a little bit of a light coming onto his face to kind of illuminate him, and the silhouettes of his groomsmen off to the side. I think that would look absolutely amazing. We have this cool booth on this side. Look at this booth with these like crazy bright lights around it. Now the only thing is, if we want to show off these bright lights and kind of all that, we do need to add a lot of light to this area, because otherwise, probably what you can see in camera right now is that if you expose for me, these are going to completely blow out. You're not going to be able to see any of the detail in those areas because it's so bright compared to where I'm standing. Even when I'm standing right underneath this light right here, it's still not going to be bright enough. But this is another cool potential area. I really love this. If I was getting married here, I mean, this is what screams this property to me, because it's so unique, and I'm looking for those kind of unique identifiers. So this bar, this lobby area, or this lounge area, I should say, these are the things that are very kind of iconic to me in this specific property. And we always try to shoot the stuff that's most iconic, because that's what made the bride and groom fall in love with that location, select that location to begin with. You end up photographing like the vegetation, stuff that could look like you're in a park, stuff that could look like you're anywhere, and the bride and groom might not be quite as happy because, well, they paid for this location because they love the location. We need to show what location they're actually at. So kind of think of that as you're going and scouting the day. We're here in the bazaar with our groomsmen and groom, and we want to set up for some really cool shots, some very iconic shots that can only be done here at the SLS. Again, we want to utilize the property and show it off. So what I have in mind is, guys, I think it'd be really cool if we put you up against this wall. So if you guys are against this, we'll see silhouettes. And what I'm going to do is, let's put Heath on this side, and let's put our three groomsmen on this side. So basically kind of separating you out a little bit. We brought some glasses because obviously they're not serving yet. So we're going to have you guys with drinks in hand, and then we're going to put some light on y'all. But basically what I want you guys to be doing is, yeah, Will, so I want you to be next to your brother. You guys are going to kind of turn inwards from this side and kind of be having a conversation with each other. So you'll have drinks in hand, and you'll be kind of leaning up and kind of focusing inward. So Will, you're kind of facing the boys. JP, you're kind of facing Will. Neil, you're leaning in and facing both of them. And you guys are just kind of hanging out. Okay? And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to kick a spot of light onto you, brother. So you're going to come right here, right there. And let's actually remove this stool from behind you. We'll put this guy right here. Okay, and yeah, let's move this stool. Let's put this guy right here just for now. So I'm going to brighten this to about 1/200 of a second. And you know what's going to be cool, guys, is I'm going to flip your sides, because what I'm noticing is that we have a reflection right here, so we can put you in the reflection and have the boys like all in the shadow kind of on this side. It'll look really cool.
Hey, I just put this in the shadow.
It's not about you today, brother.
Oh. One day.
One day. It's only pretend about Heath, anyway. Only pretend. Okay, and then scoot over this way, guys. Right there. Great. And then why don't we hide, JP, the menu behind you? So let's use your body to kind of conceal the menu. Never do that. All right, and then Heath, scoot this way. Keep going, right there, perfect. And then gentlemen, scoot closer to Heath. Let's see here. You know, I don't like the way it's like blocking your entire body right now. So let's scoot you out this way again. So all the boys scoot out a little bit. Heath, scoot down towards them. Okay, so for video, now you can obviously do this with a constant light like this, but I want to demonstrate what this is going to look like when we add flash. I'm going to do it with flash because most second shooters probably aren't going to have a GL1. This is a $500 light, and that's not in the kit yet. But we can do the same thing with a constant light that we can do with a flash. The only thing is we need to control that flash so it doesn't spill everywhere. But what we're essentially going to do is we're going to put this light right onto Heath. And we're going to zoom it in so it's basically only hitting him. Okay, so Mike, can you come and hold this? Like that. And get it kind of right on Heath's face. And maybe brighten it up. So I need that brightness to be just barely brighter than the background itself. And then gentlemen, you're going to turn in towards each other. There you go. And I'll shoot the kind of demo shot just to show what it's going to look like. Solid. Okay, so it's going to be just basically Heath. And let's go ahead and dial in our white balance while we're getting the drinks and everything else set. So I'm going to go ahead and cool this down to about 4,000 Kelvin so it's not quite as bright or as warm. Now the nice thing about flash is that it's going to give us a bit more power than, is that at full power? No. Turn it up all the way? Let's see if we can get actually enough light. Oh yeah, that's probably where we would actually put it. And then Heath, look out towards the right side. So kind of turn, there you go. Yes. That is exactly it. I'm going to go ahead and go up to like f2.8 on this shot. I'm going to slow down the shutter, and we're going to go up to 400 ISO. And that looks great. I want this to be just a little bit sharper. We're on an 85 mil, so that way I can kind of shoot and get a really nice look compressed against the background. And we have kind of our faux drinks over here that are being poured right now. We're going to put them in their hands, and then what we're going to do, guys, is I want profiles on all the gentlemen over here so I can see who you guys are by the profile on your face, okay? So turn into each other. So Neil, turn into them. Neil, put your, give me a little bit more space on the left elbow. So step into JP a little bit, but then turn the body so you're kind of a little more open. There you go. So I can see, generally what I want to do is I want to be able to see like yeah, exactly like what Will's doing. So I want to be able to see your forms by being able to see through the gaps in your arms and stuff like that. So you can bring out your arm a little bit, JP, like this side. So bring out your elbow so I can see through it. There you go. Will, you can bring your hand to like right here. There you go. And that's great. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and switch that to a flash. So let's grab the flash. We're going to go gridded. We're going to go with gel. So we want to balance that light. No. I think settings-wise we should be good. Yeah, we should be good. Perfect. Now face it to me. There we go. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I can actually use that test depth of field button right here on the side of this. And if you point this right into the cameras, you'll see that when I press that, it gives me a little pulse. That pulse allows me to place it on the groom and to make sure it's not spilling onto anybody else. That looks great. What we're going to do is maybe make it a little bit more, yeah, a little more angular right there. And then let's go ahead and take a look. There you go, right there. Okay, I have it at 1/8 power right now. We're just going to do a quick test and see where we're at. No fire? Oh, it might have been recycling still. There we go. Hey, that's actually pretty darn close. Okay, and we have a little bit of spill. So let's do one thing. Let's switch out the grid for... No, let's do a snoot. There's a snoot that you can pull out. Okay. And I'll have you, let me see where it's hitting. I'll have you adjust. So right now it's hitting his suit. So angle it towards his face more. It needs to go a little bit up higher. So let's do, so basically what I want is go down a little bit, yeah, because I don't want it to like not. So is this pointing right to your face here, Heath? I'm going to just tip it back a little bit. The hole should go directly to you. Yeah, let me just do a test shot. Yeah, that looks like it. Got it? There it is. Solid. And that's controlled, so now we're not hitting any of Will, basically. With the grid, we were hitting a little bit of Will, so we're just going to a snoot, the Magmod snoot, to get a little more control. Okay, so Will, all you're going to do, brother, is I want your left shoulder to kind of open towards the camera a little bit. There you go. A little bit more. Right there. And then look inwards towards the boys. JP, look towards Will. You guys are immersed in conversation, having a good time. And then Heath, I want you to bring the chin over to the light. There you go, right there. Perfect. All right, guys. Bring the hands back, guys. Talk, have a good time. Look toward each other so I get your profiles. And turn the chin a little bit more into each other, guys. So JP, turn them more into Will. There you go. And Neil, you're good right there. Perfect. Yeah, you guys can actually get to know each other now. All right. I want to do that same thing again. Gentlemen, we're just going to do one different angle so I have both of these. There you go. So gentlemen, same thing with the profiles. And then Heath, I want you to bring the chin this way and the eyes at me. Chin back a little bit. Right there. That's crazy cool. And Heath, look off to that right side. There you go. Look down towards the drink, and then up to the camera. Chin up a little bit, right there. Yes, fix his jacket, and then JP, I'm just gonna have you turn the chin a little bit more into Will. So like turn so that I get a full no, the body can stay where it was, but just turn the head. So there you go, so I can see the nose kind of, there you go. And Heath, go left hand in the pocket. Right there, guys. I don't even notice the bulge. Because it's pretty dark on my side. All right, there we go. Will, can you kind of open the chest of the camera a little bit and then profile towards, there you go. Fantastic. Heath, give me a smile. Look off to the left side and down. Solid. Perfect. Now we're going to shoot so that we see all the groomsmen. That first shot is kind of that shot that's designed to be kind of epic, and that reveal of the groom, and we see the profile of the groomsman is really just about bringing attention to him. Now I want them to kind of have a good time, enjoy themselves. For this, we're probably going to bring the groom into the center actually, or into one of the guys. So actually, let's have Will and Heath switch place. There you go, perfect. And then everybody grab your respective drinks, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a umbrella. But I actually forgot it. I left my umbrella back at the studio for some strange reason. So what we're going to do instead is we can, by understanding lighting, know that we can still get a makeshift umbrella with this guy. What we're going to do is take off the snoot from this guy. And I'm going to do this. To make sure that my light is opening up, we can get the placement by just using that modeling light or the pulsing light. I want to briefly show this because this is often a point of confusion as far as what button I'm actually pushing to get the depth of field or that flash preview to actually work on a 5D Mark III. Now this is again the 5D Mark III. I'm going to take the lens off so you can see this little button right to the bottom right of the lens mount. That is the depth of field preview button. So when you press it normally without a flash attached, it simply gives you a depth of field preview in the viewfinder. But with a flash or off-camera flash connected that's compatible, it's going to pulse the flash, and it basically becomes a sort of modeling light. So you can use that pulse to see where the light is actually landing, and it's a fantastic feature to be able to quickly set up your flashes and take less test shots, making sure that everything's right. So usually I only need to take 1 or 2 test shots when I set up my flashes because I'm using that depth of field preview. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the video. Remember, if you're using a different model or a different make of camera, just check the manual, figure out what button you can assign that preview to, or that little pulsing preview to. And oftentimes you can assign it to really any button, but also make sure that your flashes themselves are compatible with that feature also. That's it. Now let's go back to the video. Which is kind of like a modeling light. And what we want to do is make sure that it fills the entire umbrella. So you'll notice that when we get really close, if you see this in the camera, you'll notice that when we're close up to there, it doesn't fill up the entire scrim. So what we're going to do is bring it just to the point where it fills up that entire scrim and it opens up and it pushes light into this entire area, which is right about there. Okay. Now I'm going to adjust the flash power on this guy. So we're going to actually bring up the flash power quite a bit. Let's go up to 1/2 power. We were at 1/8 for that last scene. And let's just take a look. Okay. It's looking pretty dang good. Now, the one thing that I'm noticing is that we get a lot of reflection off of the glass in the back because the scrim is basically going white, and so it's kicking light back at us. So there's a couple things that we can do. One, we can actually bring the light off to the side a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring the light over to, you know what, that might be too directional. Let's do this. Let's go out to, let's just move this table a little bit. Okay, we're going to bring the flash right about here. And you're going to hide the umbrella behind the column. So we basically don't see, or you're going to hide the scrim behind the column. Okay, so as long as that's hidden from my view, let's see it. If I can see it, then I'll get a reflection. Yep, right there. Right there. Let's see if that fixed it. Oops. Might need a new battery because I'm keep doing that test popping. There we go. There we go, much, much better. We controlled that spill quite a bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get low. I'm going to get close. Gentlemen, that looks fantastic, but I want you guys to look like you're actually having a good time. So face into each other. There you go.
Oh boy.
There you go.
Believe it?
Can you believe it?
Who would have thought?
And let's do this. Let's replace the batteries in that flash because it's having a struggle right now. So that looks really cool. We like to get a few of these setup shots, but I also love just getting genuine interactions with my groomsmen. So after I've got a shot or two that I want to get, I want them to hang out, to have fun, to have a good time. Remember that the wedding day is not just about photographs. So as much as we can shoot journalistically, we will. Otherwise, we're gonna set up and put them in a position so that we can get great photos with good lighting, and then basically cue the action. So we set it up for posed photojournalism, essentially, where we're putting them into the good light, setting everything up, and then just cueing it and letting it happen naturally. So now, if they were actually hanging out here at the bar, they'd probably just be chilling. I'm gonna just tell them, hey guys, I want you guys to hang out and face towards the inside of the bar, and just have a good time and enjoy yourselves. Okay, and this is where we'd take 5-10 minutes and just kind of shoot around what we have in the scene, getting different natural light type shots. So guys, feel free to chat, hang out. Neil, stand a little bit closer to the groom. Oh, it looks dope. JP, can you stand up a little bit taller? And then, guys, all look towards the center. There you go. JP, stand closer to everybody. There you go, right there. Look in towards, so Will and Heath look in toward each other. Both gentlemen on each side look in toward them. There you go. Perfect. Keep chatting, hanging out.
Oh, you guys were trading.
I don't know what my hair. I've had it for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
It's your neck.
Is it bad?
Yeah, it's pretty above normal.
What?
Above average?
Yeah, above average sore throat.
Oh, you had it?
No, I saw it. I've had it for like a week and a half now.
You seem happy about it. He's like smiling. He's like, you're handling
Yeah,
it pretty well.
for a week now.
You're handling it pretty well.
What a great topic of conversation, guys.
We gotta make sure we need to stay away. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
Very grateful.
Perfect. Got the shot that I wanted. So shooting on a 35, and we're shooting kind of low, bottom up to kind of conceal anything in the background that we might be seeing. And we're looking for those candid moments. And if they're having a great conversation, they're hanging out with each other, great. I don't need to do anything. If they don't know each other, which is, these guys don't know each other except for Will and Heath, then I kind of help things along by joking around and having a good time until we get those really nice candids. This is a little bit on the warm side, which is totally fine. This light coming through the back is straight up orange. So it's more than tungsten, it's like an actual orange. So we'll drop it down a little bit lower in post. But you can see that we get these really nice shots, and then this is the silhouette shot from the backside. So just them hanging at the bar, again, telling the story, thinking about how these images are gonna work together in a story format, in a book, or in a blog spread, or whatever. We wanna tell this overall piece, overall story of what they're doing on the day of the wedding. Okay, and then that cool solo shot of just the groom by himself. All right, so we got a really good sequence here. And I think I'm good with the bar scene. Like, we could get other angles if we wanted to, but we've really demonstrated what we need to do from a photography standpoint. At this point, it's just making sure that you got good shots. And why are we getting low? Not only do we want to conceal things, we're shooting a little bit wide and getting low because it's interesting. It's interesting for the camera to be close up and in the action as opposed to shooting it from far back. I step behind the bar for this. If there's a bartender, just ask them. Most of the time people will let you go because it's the groom's wedding day. He'll let you do pretty much anything you want so long as you're not pouring drinks for them yourself. So just be sure to ask, get into the right position, use the right lens for what you're wanting to get. And look at this. When this groomsman points into the camera and is like, hey, what's up? Like, that's exactly what I was doing. I got that shot. And these are really cool moments because you get these natural actions and expressions out of them, which are fantastic. That's exactly what we're going for. Let them hang out, let them enjoy themselves, work around them, and then move on, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next scene.